Hey everyone, it is Burnt Bricks here, and today we'll be reviewing LEGO set 75214, Anakin's Jedi Starfighter. This set was released in 2018, came with 247 pieces, 2 minifigs, and personally, I really like the set. The last time we got Anakin's Jedi Starfighter in this style, the more triangular style, was back in 2008 with the initial release of the Clone Wars, and I really like this re-release. It's honestly an amazing build. It's heavily based off of Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter that we got back in 2016, Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter with hyperdrive ring, aside from obviously it's in Anakin's colors, yellow and gray. As previously stated, it has 2 minifigs, Anakin and R2-D2, if you count R2-D2 as a minifig, as he is more of a droid. But I say, let's get into the minifigs, and really, just, this set is amazing. First off, we're going to start with the Anakin Skywalker minifig. Now, I really like this version of Anakin, aside from one thing. If you notice his face print, he has that kind of Jedi headset on that we see in the start of Episode 3 when him and Obi-Wan are in their starfighters boarding Grievous' ship. But the problem is, that is the only time we ever saw him in this headpiece. We never saw him wearing this headpiece while he was in his normal Jedi Starfighter, at least not that I can remember. So I would have much rather have gotten just a normal Anakin face without that headpiece. Even his alternate face has it on. Like, it's kind of iffy, because, like I said, we never really saw him with it on. And even if we did see him with it on, and I just can't remember, he was definitely without it more than he was while he was piloting a ship. The detailing on him is pretty nice. Looking at his legs, you can notice there is some very slight printing. Now, it is as detailed as most Jedi, however, since it is dark brown printed on black, it is very unnoticeable. It's very hard to see unless you turn him to the side. You can very clearly see that difference. And looking at his back, it really matches his front, kind of like the armor plating he has on his shoulders. He has a belt with some good silver accents, and those colors are actually the same color as his lightsaber, which is obviously blue. The only time Anakin had a not blue lightsaber was when he was given that substitute lightsaber during the Battle of Geonosis in Episode 2. Now here we have R2-D2. Obviously, R2-D2 is a pretty common Star Wars figure. He's in almost every movie, so he comes in a lot of sets. His printing is awesome. I really like how they started printing his accents in dark blue rather than light blue, and his head in a silver color rather than a dark gray color. Well, not dark gray, it was stone gray, I believe it was printed in, but either way, his new color scheme works way better. They started producing this R2 after 2013. The last time the old R2 with the gray head and light blue printing was seen was in Jabba's sail barge, I believe. And even then, he had a little tray, because he was serving drinks in that set. So those are the 2 minifigs. I really do like them. They go really well in this set, and both of them serve a function, obviously. R2 goes in the astromech socket here, and Anakin obviously goes in the pilot's seat. Now that I'm talking about the set, let's get into the actual review. Now that we've gone over to the minifigs, let's take a look at the ship. This thing is honestly one of my favorite ships I've ever seen in Star Wars. From the first second I saw it in Episode 2, I'm like, wow, that thing is cool. And my only gripe with this set is that it does not have a hyperdrive ring, so as far as stop motions go, it's kind of difficult to do, because we have no Anakin hyperdrive ring, and I would really just like to see a recolor of Obi-Wan's hyperdrive ring released to go with this, and I think that would be really cool, because in universe this thing can't jump without one, so yeah. But looking at this ship, it's amazing. The detailing is good. If it wasn't all stickers, it would be better. For example, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stickers on it, so that's a bit much for a $20 set. However, I think just the set being a Delta 7 Interceptor, I believe that's what it is, I'm not 100%, is just amazing. Now, if you look at the functionality of it, where the minifigs would go, it's amazing. R2 fits in here almost perfectly, and Anakin goes in here. One second, just had to get him in the sitting position. Really well. I say that as I struggle to get him in there. He fits in there almost perfectly. There's a little clip under here to show where Anakin's lightsaber is. Obviously, he wouldn't keep it down here. It's like, oh, gotta take off. Let me crawl under my ship, clip my lightsaber in, and then fly away. That's just there so you don't lose it while playing, because it really doesn't fit in the cockpit. And that's pretty much it. It does have these cool engines out the back. I'm not sure if they're green in universe. I haven't seen a picture of it in universe recently, but I'm pretty sure they're more of a yellow color, if I remember correctly. So there's that. As far as playability goes, they have the stud shooter, obviously. That's pretty much it. These are in, like, I believe it's like a bright lime green color. Bright trans lime green. So that's interesting. This is actually accurate to what the ship would fire in universe. As I mentioned in my Republic fighter tank review, I'm not sure if I have that out yet. The Republic fighter tank fired off red projectiles, which weren't accurate. All Republic tanks either fired green or blue projectiles, so I often have to replace the studs because they are inaccurate. But with this set, they're accurate, so points for accuracy. The shape of the ship, it's not really a Lego thing, but the shape of the ship is just so cool to me. And considering how cheap this set is, if you're like a parent or kid who's begging their parent for stuff, I'd recommend asking for this one, because it's still on shelves, and it's a pretty good build, and it's fun just to play around with. Now obviously, there's landing gear. That's what I was just messing around with, this thing. When you have it on a flat surface, other than a flat surface with Lego studs, have the landing gear all the way extended. However, if it is not a flat surface, if it's a flat surface with Lego studs, keep it up like this, connect the back landing gear, and let the bent landing gear like that rest. That's pretty much all I have to say about this, so let's get into the final review. Okay, let's get into the review. As you know by now, playability, functionality, and minifigures. Those are the three categories I judge on. Let's start with playability. The set has a lot of things you can act out with it, per se. Obviously, it's a ship. There's a lot more possibilities than, say, a tank or a vignette. So, it's more fun to play with, in my opinion. You have the stud shooters, as I mentioned. Lego has been doing a lot of these, and they bother me. I kind of miss the old, like, decorative cannons, because they implied a lot more imagination. You can still use your imagination to visualize these as normal-looking cannons, but I personally preferred the older thing, where they would use flick-fire missiles and make them look like turrets, so you could fire them off if you wanted to, but they looked okay when they weren't being fired. Now, obviously, the cockpit opens. There's some good detailing in there. That's not really playability. The landing gear works. However, while playing with the set, often I'll hold it like this and squeeze a little too hard, and then that'll come off. But it's Lego. So, unlike other toys where if you gripped it too hard and it broke, it would be like, okay, time to go to the store and get a new one. Now it's just, okay, let's just reattach. It's a lot easier, in my opinion. So, that's the playability. The functionality is basically one thing. Yeah, that's really the only function of the ship. It's meant to be played with, not like... It's meant to be played with, obviously, not displayed. If it was meant to be displayed, it wouldn't have stud shooters. But, honestly, the functionality isn't really there. I'm going to have to give functionality a 0. I'm just letting you know that, because, no, a 1, because it does have some, but... Unlike the past two sets I reviewed, it really didn't have much. The Republic fighter tank could at least roll and shoot. This thing just shoots. Obviously, it's a spaceship, so it doesn't need to roll, but it's a bit uninteresting with only stud shooters. Now, last category, minifigs. R2-D2 is my least favorite minifig in the set by comparison, because he's not even a minifig, and he only has, like, 2 things that are printed. So, sorry, R2, you kind of got gypped. Anakin is obviously my favorite minifig by default, because he's the only real minifig, and he is printing all over his body aside from like on his arms, which is really rare anyway. So that's about it. This, like I mentioned, is really one of my favorite sets. However, playability, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Functionality, 1 out of 10, I already said that. And then minifigs, I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10, just because Anakin and R2-D2 are both pretty dang common minifigs. You get them in almost every year. So that's my thoughts on the 75214 Anakin's Jedi Starfighter set. If you enjoyed my review, please leave a like. If you really liked it, please consider subscribing. Now, I just want to say again, thank you for supporting my channel in any way you can, and I'll see you all later. Bye.